after the coolant spill yesterday and the day before, I realized it's probably not the best for the dog to have, coolant on the ground, and we kind of paper toweled it up, but we didn't really clean it up. So I came in this morning and I swept, and then I started mopping the floor, and I just had a thought that, I'm like 6'1". I think all brooms and mops are like 4 to 6 inches too short, because I feel like I'm always stooping for them. I could also just have bad posture.
Alright everyone, welcome to part 5 of Shop Life. This is becoming quite a thing. It takes a lot of work to edit all these videos. Last night I think I was up for about 3 hours total doing it. But it's a lot of fun. So Thursday today, my focus will be making pivots on the Tormac lathe and stop pins as well, so maybe I'll show you that. Meanwhile, Eric is making screws on the Mori, doing the Torx pattern, and we've got a coolant lady coming in to expertise us on the foaming issue that we're having. Like that? Expertise us? So in the part 1, basically, the titanium screw video, I had a call it where I abused. It was kind of fun. But I needed to open it up, so I spread it out, and I got a few comments that that's definitely not the way to do it. It works, but it's not the best way. What some guys do is they'll put, I guess you drill 3 holes, and then pin them so that once it clamps, it doesn't compress too much, and then you can put it in the lathe and run a boring bar through it and open it up, or a carbide reamer or whatever, open it up to the size you need. That would be the ideal way to do it. The other thing is Hardinge sells collets in every single size imaginable in 1 thou increments, and they're really high quality collets, so I will probably try to get some of those in the 3 sizes that I use, because better collets. I'm not impressed with the threads of these ones, just because they're so nasty and painted and gritty, and like unscrewing it from the collet system is really annoying. And I'm wondering if just better threads will make that an easier process. This is Mary. This is our Coolant Expert.
Typically, if you want to use distilled water, you can use it. Just when on your initial fill up, you can use the city water, and then as top up, you can use distilled water.
Okay, I think I've read that too somewhere. Somebody suggested that. But since we've already initial filled,
you can absolutely top up with city water now.
Okay. And then what's our plan for this? Like, you took some samples?
Yeah. Took some samples, so we will do some testing in our lab, test the batch and all that stuff.
What do you guys, is there an additive you guys use, or? We can add, like I can put hard water in, see if that helps. Okay.
If that doesn't help, I can bring in some anti-foamer.
Yeah.
But inherently, this product is not one that will foam. So we want to address it. If there's an issue, we want to make sure that we identify it and address it.
Okay.
And then from there, we'll correct it, whatever it needs to be, and then move forward. But so what they did with the extreme fill line, which is really nice, is they were able to source raw materials that don't foam. So typically, if there is a foaming issue, it could be something mechanical, or sometimes something got into the coolant. But we also always look to our due diligence on our end and check it out, make sure everything's okay, and then we'll make sure we get it all corrected.
So what I'm doing here is I'm using my Mitutoyo dial test caliper to measure that the face of this threading tool is flat, so that the tip is exactly where I think it'll be, not high, not low.
For my pivots, we're using stainless steel called 17-4PH, which is a really sweet stainless. And we are using it in the H900 condition, which means we buy them, I forget what it's called, in the annealed condition basically. They're about 35 Rockwell when you buy them. And then if you heat them in the oven at 900 degrees for 2 hours, you get the H900 condition, which makes them about 45 Rockwell. So that's why they're this nice golden color. So that means I'm machining the pivots in the hardened condition.
So right now we are using the Mori to mill the Torx pattern into the screw heads. We've also got a detail on there where we take a little ball mill and we pump it down 6 times. I think that adds a beautiful detail. I'll give you a macro shot, right, meow. But I tried something different. Making these takes 5 different tools and 1 tool breakage detection cycle. I might add another one. But in SolidWorks, I'm using SolidWorks HSM for this code. When you do a pattern, because we're making 6 screws at a time in this mini fixture, when you do a pattern, it orders it by tool and it does a lot of breakage detection, and I don't know, I wanted it to do breakage detection after this tool but before the next tool, and the order got a little funky. So in order to make it work, I would just do every single tool for 1 screw and then breakage detection, and then every single tool for another screw and then breakage detection. So that's doing a lot of extra tool changes. But I just reorganized the code so that it uses the first tool 6 times, then the second tool 6 times, then the third tool 6 times. And for the tiny tool, it does 6, and then it does 1 breakage detection afterwards. And then the chamfer after that. So that worked out really well. And it went from almost 15-minute runtime before to down to 10-minute runtime. So we saved 5 whole minutes just by reorganizing the way that the tools are called up. So less tool changes and less movement and less breakage detections and all that. So that's pretty cool.
So I made a little goof just now. I'm making my pivot. It's turning out beautiful so far, except my 1/8" drill bit is not here anymore. The tool holder has been called tool 7 in the past, so I zeroed it off as tool 7. Except in CAM, it's called tool 8, and I didn't realize that, and I'm stupid. So tool 8 was obviously a lot different, and this tool just plowed right in there, crashed and destroyed the tool and made me scared.
So I don't know why, but I just did that same thing twice in a row. I destroyed that drill bit by plunging it in. I thought I had it right. I'm not sure what the problem is yet. So directly after that tool broke on the lathe, the Mori broken tool detection just picked up another broken tool. Thankfully it didn't ruin anything, but the tiny end mill, the 20 thou end mill that I used to do the Torx pattern on the screws finally gave way. When I first started using this tool, I broke like 3 or 4 of them pretty quickly, as you can see in my titanium screw video. And since changing a few parameters, this tool has lasted for quite a long time. I mean, I'd say probably 50 plus screws, which, you know, we can probably do better, but that's much better than it breaking every 1 or 2. So we're getting there. So we are slacking off a bit, and we're batch working these screws. No real reason. It's just kind of easy to keep the mill running while I'm doing lathe stuff and Eric's doing sharpening stuff. Yeah, eventually we'll do big fixtures
with not a million screws on it, but with enough screws for the knives on that fixture, plus a few extras maybe, and keep it a little bit one-piece flow. But until then, it's kind of easy to just keep running it. Got it. I know why it broke now. Mostly because I'm an idiot. When you have a process that works, stick to it. Don't try to do something weird. So what happened is my part normally starts longer than that. This is the second part. Anyway, so I used my parting tool to cut it off, and now the cut is negative 0.5 inches for that tool. So I touched this off here and called it 0, not negative 0.5. So I had negative about like this much, where this tool thinks it's wrong. So no wonder why it was plowing. Maybe that's what happened the first time, I'm not sure. So I've got to say, today doesn't feel like my absolute most productive day ever. I guess we got some stuff done, but just not heaps and heaps, right? I've got a lot of plans for the lathe to make it quicker changeover, changing tools and gang blocks, and have different setups for different parts that we're running. So throughout time, I'll